Hey, what's up guys? I'm on day 26 of the Wim Hof method. I'm nearing the end of my January challenge, and I thought I would share with you guys what my experience has been like so far. So the very first thing that comes to mind is how insanely quick you do see results while practicing this technique. I think that we live in a society today based upon instant gratification. We all want things right away, and we're kind of all searching for the cure-all. Something that I see while experimenting with these different tools and techniques is that they tend to offer very small increments of progress, and you can't really see them at first, but in the long run, after months, after years, these very small increments add up to large results. And the super cool thing about this technique is it didn't work like that. It was more like boom. I could just see results, I could see the benefits almost immediately, and that's super powerful because it motivated me to keep on practicing. So I'm going to share with you guys today what those benefits are and why I think this technique is so incredibly important for athletes. Truth be told, everyone can stand to benefit from this, but athletes tend to come to mind just because this is a very simple way to strengthen your cardiovascular system by drastically increasing the amount of oxygen that your body is intaking. So day one, I practiced in the morning, and instantly I realized that throughout the entire day, I was just breathing deeper in general. So oxygen was flowing through my body more easily, my lungs felt open up, my body felt open up, and it felt like there was just less constrictions. And this has continued till today, and I feel like my overall system is just working more optimally. I'm intaking more oxygen and I'm exhaling more oxygen than I previously was. It was about 2 weeks in when I came to the realization that, holy shit, I have to tell all my friends that are athletes about this, because it could drastically not only affect their lives, but affect their ability to compete. So I was watching an interview, and they were talking about the best times to practice. One of which was in the morning. When you wake up, you tend to be very depleted of oxygen and of H2O. So this is a great technique to try in the morning. But another thing they mentioned was to practice this right before you do anything athletic, right before you go for a run, right before you have a game, right before anything that is physical. So I got all excited, I did my session, I held my breath for the longest that I ever have, and then I went for a run. To put things in perspective, I've been walking and hiking for the last couple months and sporadically running 2 to 3 kilometer runs. So nothing too crazy, but also just kind of taking it slow. So I went for a run and I got to the 3 kilometer mark, and I still felt great, I still felt good. So then I kept running, got to the 6 kilometers, still felt great, wasn't tired at all. And I ended up running about 10 kilometers. And unfortunately, I did pull my hamstring in this process, but I was just so excited that I wasn't getting tired. And even after the 10K, I felt like I could have just kept on going. I felt like I just had an endless supply of reserves. So that is why I think that athletes should get interested in this technique. And if you haven't already tried it, please do. Even if you're not an athlete, do it anyway. This is a great tool for fighting depression. So your brain is going to release serotonin, endorphins, and all those other good chemicals that put you in a happy state. And I noticed this subtly at first, but after 3 weeks, I could really notice that after my practice, I kind of was in this natural high. And studies have actually shown now that while doing this, your brain has the potential of releasing dimethyltryptamine, which is that fun thing that gets released in the deepest stage of sleep, REM sleep, as well as near-death experiences. Plants that contain DMT are mushrooms, peyote, ayahuasca, LSD. And the really cool thing about this is you don't have to go eat some mushroom, you don't have to go drink some brew, you don't have to have some type of near-death experience. You can sit down, you can lay down, and you can focus on your breath, and you can consciously bring about this change in chemistry within your mind. So you can naturally release DMT. So I found that to be super fascinating. I've heard people mention that they've seen flashing lights, they've seen shapes and patterns while practicing. I have not personally experienced that myself yet, but like I said, I can kind of see how that natural high is increasing. Things like feeling lightheaded, things like feeling a little tingly, and I can see where that would lead to things that are similar to that. Chemistry definitely isn't my strong suit, but here's my understanding of what's happening so far. So as you're inhaling more oxygen than you're exhaling, you're increasing your blood flow. And blood essentially acts like a tunnel that oxygen uses to travel throughout the body. So you're oxidizing all of the cells of your body, and by doing so, pH levels rise and alkalinity rises. And as this happens, it decreases the inflammation in your body, which is that nasty thing that creates all the disease and problems that we tend to have within the human system. So by simply getting more oxygen, you're immensely strengthening your immune system. At first, I was making all kinds of comparisons between the Wim Hof method and meditation. I felt like I was coming to similar conclusions in both, but the Wim Hof method was kind of meditation on steroids. I was coming to the same conclusion, but it was happening a lot quicker. Both practices teach you to focus on the breath, and both practices have you observe your own thoughts. So regardless of which you choose, you're going to learn something about yourself. I can see now that both are important tools depending on what you need. But something I realized while holding my breath was that for every action, there is a reaction. And when you're holding your breath, the goal is to have as much oxygen available to you as possible. And every thought that you have expends energy. And when you expend energy, you're going to be using oxygen. So every thought that you have is depleting yourself of oxygen. So you realize that the goal is to be thoughtless, to be present, and just to be. And that tends to be a very hard thing for a lot of people, myself included. And that's why I think both these tools are just incredibly important. I wrote a blog, which I'll post in the description box down below. If this is kind of my quick notes, this is just things off the top of my head. In my blog, I recorded every day, my times, and little observations that I had through each day. So if you're interested in that, you can check it out. One more benefit that I'll share with you guys is you're going to realize that you're capable of much more than you previously believed. And this might start with holding your breath. Oh, I can hold my breath for twice as long now, 3 times as long. I can run twice as long, 3 times as long. But what I really mean is when you're holding your breath, you get these feelings of uncomfortability. You don't feel good. And you learn very quickly to become comfortable with uncomfortable feelings. And if you can do that, then you can essentially get yourself to do anything. And that you realize that being uncomfortable is just a feeling. It's like being mad, it's like being sad, it's like being euphoric. These are all just feelings, and we tend to believe that these things just kind of happen to us. But when you practice these techniques, you realize that you have the ability to manipulate your breath, you have the ability to manipulate your thoughts, and you have the ability to manipulate how you feel. So that's an extremely empowering feeling, and it's one of many benefits that you will receive if you practice this technique. If you've made it this far, then leave a like. If you guys have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll do my best to answer them or point in the direction of someone who can. And be sure to subscribe for more videos like this one every week, where I'll jump into this technique and others like it. Thanks for watching. Peace.